Taking over from men. There's a lot of concern about the lack of women in leadership positions within society. The majority of CEOs are men, the majority of Congress is men, etc., etc. But that is more due to the mundane fact that positions of power are usually attained by older people who currently hail from an older generation that was obviously more patriarchal. But what people fail to realize is that is changing, and not so much due to feminism and women demanding it to be so, though that too, but also because men are dropping out of society. Ever since the 1950s, men have been leaving the workforce. At their peak, 88% of able-bodied men worked, or at least sought work, while today only 68% of men do. But what's worse, for future generations of men anyway, young men participate in society even less. At their peak, 75% of young men were either employed or seeking employment, whereas today, barely half do. Even worse than that, young men aren't making any aims to improve or invest in their futures either. Currently, there are 50% more women in college than men, none of which bodes well for men's futures. But while women may bemoan the lack of quality men in their social and love lives, not to mention the legions of men who still live at home, this more or less ensures there will be a power vacuum in nearly all levels and positions of power. Because if men aren't going to fill these positions of power, the only people who can are women. Power dynamics and competition between the sexes aside, the empirical evidence is that men as a whole have abandoned society and shirked their duties. Fewer and fewer of them have any interest in improving themselves through college and education. Even less even care to do the most basic of things and get a job. And though there's no way to predict the future, it's a pretty sure bet that society is going to need women, not just to do the jobs men refuse to do, but lead and manage the country. Therefore, whether women realize it or not, they have a tremendous opportunity to succeed where men have failed. They are going to have to lead, manage, and ultimately support society. And if leading, managing, and ultimately being responsible for an entire society doesn't give you purpose and meaning in life, then there isn't much that would.